In 5.4, we were learning how to perform operations using matrices. To start off, I want to first make sure that we know how to determine the size of a matrix and to determine the entries of a matrix, because this is important when we go to add, subtract, and multiply matrices. The size of a matrix is given by the number of rows and the number of columns. It's going to be in the format m by n, where m, the first number, is the number of rows, and n, the second number, tells you the number of columns. So skipping down to our example, we have a matrix A where we have two rows. The first row is 3, 0, negative 1, and the second row is 2, 1, 4. And then we have three columns. Column 1 is 3, 2, column 2 is 0, 1, and column 3 is negative 1, 4. And so if you're asking the question, what is the size of this matrix, we are looking at the number of rows and the number of columns. We have two rows and we have three columns. So the size of this is a 2 by 3 matrix. And then skipping down to what an entry is. An entry is all the numbers that make up a matrix. And we need to be able to identify the different entries. In this matrix A, we have 6 entries: 3, 0, negative 1, 2, 1, and 4. On the second part of the example, notice how we are expressing each entry. Since this is the matrix capital A, we're going to call each entry lowercase a. And then it has two numbers beside the lowercase a. The first number tells us the row that it's in, and the second number tells us the column that it's in. So in this first one, it asks us to find A12. The 1 tells us that it's in the first row, and the second number tells us that it's in the second column. So if we're in the first row and second column, then we have the entry 0. And notice the difference between A12 and A21. A21 means that we are in the second row, first column. So if we're in the second row, first column, this is the entry 2. And then A13 tells us that we're in the first row and in the third column. So this gives us the entry negative 1. And then we can do the same thing with a square matrix, the matrix B down at the bottom. A square matrix is a matrix that has the same number of rows as it does columns. So what is the size of this matrix? We have 3 rows and we also have 3 columns. So it is a 3 by 3 matrix. And then to identify the different entries, B12 tells us that we're in the first row, second column. So the entry B12 is 4. B33, we're in the third row, third column. So the entry B33 is negative 4. And then finally B21 tells us that we're in the second row, first column, which is negative 3.